Thank you. Do you want the microphone?
Pretty impressive. No, I don't need a mic.
He was a colonel. He didn't need it.
Thanks so much for showing up today. We're going to eat here in about 2 seconds. But before we have breakfast, I'd like to introduce the brain trust of the Laurel Highlands Historical Village. We have Doug Yonker as the president. Ron Shaldy is the executive director. And the real person who makes everything happen, Patty. Secretary and treasurer. They'll be talking here in a couple minutes and stuff. And I certainly don't want to keep anybody from breakfast. I'm Doug Langenfelder, my wife Terry. Please start breakfast.
Doug, the pastor's going to give prayer. Where's the pastor? Pastor, where are you at?
There it is.
There you are. Oh.
He had one job.
We have Pastor.
He was supposed to cue me. He had one job.
We're gonna have 2 invocations today. One that's in the program and then one for breakfast. Go ahead.
Okay, that's the first time I heard that. In a pastor's ear, that means we're going to have grapes. Or say thanks for breakfast and then an invocation in a minute. Is that all right?
Correct.
Pardon us while we figure this out. All right.
You're up.
God, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this occasion that we could come together and remember. Thank you for the strength to be able to gather. We thank you for the gift of fellowship. We thank you for the gift of food. All of it we recognize as a gift from your hand, and so we thank you. We ask that you would take this food, this nourishment, use it to strengthen us as we serve Jesus today. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Pastor Rick Conrad.
We're going to start. Here comes the food. So why don't we start right here? One second. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Well, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. Nice day, beautiful day to be doing this, and I'd like to especially thank all of our guest speakers that we're going to have here, to include everything from politicians to staffers and some folks that are going to be presenting a lot of information. But before we get started, let's all give a round of applause for Rockies for hosting us today. And we hope you enjoyed the breakfast. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Doug Yonker. I think he's got a fabulous first name.
That's
yeah,
right.
sorry. But for those of you that don't know about the Laurel Highlands Historical Village, I introduced the staff before you guys ate. I'm going to let Doug talk a little about Laurel Highlands.
Thank you, Colonel. Hello, thank you all for coming here today. Hope you're all having a good time. I hope you had a really good meal. I want to thank all of our speakers. I want to thank the Colonel and his wonderful wife, Terry. I'd like to thank Anna and Rocky. Did they do a great job here with the meal or not? We have Representative Frank Burns here. We have Senator Wayne Langerholtz here. We have Tom Caulfield from VCI. We have Mark Wissender here. Josh Hauser from Cambria County Veterans Director. And we have the wonderful Pat Wilson, who made these beautiful quilts out there, which will be given away. What we do, Laurel Highlands Historical Village, we try to educate people on the ethnic diversity of this region. We also like to talk about preserving our ethnic cultures. Also, too, the history of this region. We have a great history. It's more than just steel mills. It goes all the way back to the colonial time. And when we say we honor our veterans, it's because veterans are an important part of our community. People from this region have served in every conflict from the American Revolution, even back to the French and Indian War, all the way up to the conflicts in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And for that, we like to let people continually know about the contribution that veterans have. Something like this little brief thing. I was going to do this great grand speech, but I learned a lesson from history. During the dedication of the Gettysburg ceremony, the speaker who came before, this great orator came before Abraham Lincoln, spoke for what, 2 hours? Lincoln comes up, speaks for what, a half hour? After that, nobody can remember the name of the orator who spoke before him. He's an answer to a trivia question. Everybody remembers the Gettysburg Address. So sometimes the brevity is a good thing. But something I just want to say about veterans we have today. We talk about heroes in this society. It's a loose term anymore. A hero can be anything from a sports star or a celebrity. Singers, entertainers, even fictional characters are heroes. It seems our society, we like to label anyone who has any kind of mishap as a hero. You're bullied in school, and you manage to get by and survive the bullying. Guess what? You're a hero. You stand up for your rights to use the right restroom for the gender you identify with that day, and you're a hero. You stand up against the gun lobby. You're a hero. But if you ask a veteran, what is a hero? And you tell a veteran, I think you're a hero, he'll say, no, not me. I'm not a veteran. I mean, I'm not a hero. Heroes are the guys who didn't come back. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing what they told me to do. Well, I'm here to tell you, all the guys who did come home today, thank you for your service. And I'm glad you came back. You know what? If nobody has ever told you this, welcome home, because you are my heroes. And I'm going to say the same thing about our great women who serve in the military today, too. We don't give enough credit to them. Women have been part of the American experience in military conflicts since the American Revolution as well. They served, they followed the troops, they took care of the wounded. Every conflict you have women doing important tasks, not just filing papers. Today women are flying Apache gunships, they're flying F-18s, they're directing aircraft onto aircraft carriers. Women have just completed Ranger training. So I want to say to the women, thank you, my sisters, and welcome home. And that is all I have to say.
What Doug won't tell you is the type of hero that he is. He's received the Bronze Star, and he has been a recipient of a Purple Heart. So, thank you. Next individual I'd like to call up is Ron Shawley. If you're here, you've probably spoken to him. And Ron is a shaker and mover. I'm not sure how much we get done without Patty, but Ron is certainly a hard charger. Ron, the floor is yours.
Thanks everybody for coming in today. I appreciate it. This is the second year we've done this. For those of you who aren't aware of it, before I get to that point, I want to thank the Honor Guard. I love you guys. Thanks for coming in. You do a great job. And folks, they don't do this just today. These guys are dedicated. They do this week in, week out, weekdays. I mean, they're there, okay? A lot. And they need to be recognized for their efforts. A couple of notes I want to mention. In September, we're having the first ever Cambria County Arts and Heritage Festival. It's going to be a place where we can unify Cambria County. September 15th and 16th at Duman Park. It's our past, our present, our future. We as Cambria County, are we proud to live here? Yes. We have a lot of families who have a long legacy of withstanding the hardships of time. And more importantly, the military is a huge composite of Cambria County, of which we're going to be showcasing at Duman Park. Everything from the Civil War, American Revolution forward, okay? So if you guys want to take part, if you go back to your VFWs, your Legions, you're all welcome to come free of charge. Go to our website, give us an application, let us know you're coming. We have our Veterans Memorial in Hingston Dam. Again, a lot of you guys have turned in your application. If not, let Patty or me know. We'll get you the application to have your name embossed at the memorial, okay? I have a lot of guys up here daily that go up here that got PTSD, okay? Those of us from Vietnam, Korea, the Gulf, we don't know much about, but we do. But these guys coming back from Afghan, Doug will tell you they're really, really stressed out, okay? My nephew David back here, one of the ones, people have heard this. We got veterans who live on that mountain up there, okay? People think I'm nuts. I'm telling you point blank. They live on that mountain. Why? They can't exist in society, all right? And I'm not yelling at the VA. The VA is doing all they can do. And I have a young lady today talking about PTSD and how they can help veterans. The problem is the veterans don't want the help, okay? All right, they just want to be left alone, all right? I'm just letting you know they're for real. They do live up there. That's why we're doing this event today. We're raising monies to buy food for the veterans who need it. We have right now roughly 40 to 50 veterans that I feed that are either shut in that need the help, okay? And that's sad. When you've got veterans out there, I have a veteran who lives in Westmont. His neighbor's a doctor. Not being prejudiced, but the doctor's from India. The doctor doesn't even give a damn about that veteran. He won't knock on the door and say, do you need help, okay? That's pretty sad. And this guy is an American? Give me a break, all right? We need to step up to the plate. That's why we started this effort of helping our own, okay? Go into the veterans who need the help. And you're asking, well, can't they go to the food bank? These guys are shut in, they're handicapped. And the food banks won't help them. The food bank tells me they have to come to us. They can't get to you. So you know what? We're stepping up to the plate and we're feeding our veterans, okay? And to the veterans who need the help. I just want to say thanks again, okay? Let's do this next year and make it bigger and better. Go up to our memorial at Hingston Dam. It's really nice, okay? And I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you. I squeeze this in quick. Pastor, where you at, Pastor? He's right here. Special favor, okay? The pastor, we were looking for a pastor to do this for, and I probably had 8 pastors lined up, and each one canceled, okay? I forgot your name.
Rick Conrad.
Rick Conrad, Pastor Conrad, okay? If you're curious, okay, I'm going to give him a short plug. This is kind of neat. I don't know if you all know about Noah's Ark being built. Down south, there was a guy that built Noah's Ark. I mean, the full Noah's Ark, right? Well, they're doing a tour, a bus tour, in August.
Yes, sir.
In August, okay? If you're interested in taking it to a bus tour to Noah's Ark, talk to the pastor. He has some flyers here, okay? Thanks, guys.
I think what Ron wanted to mention in terms of this was a couple things. In August, we've got the Noah's Ark. In September, we've got our Heritage Festival at Duman's Lake. If you haven't been out to Duman's, you really should. It's just such a wonderful environment, very peaceful, and it is a county asset. Mark, there's your plug. That's really, really nice. Now, in a second, we're going to have the Marine Corps League, the 287th, come in. But one thing you may not realize is that this group is much more than just a ceremonial group. Each month they do dozens of funerals. And for a while, the United States was losing between 1,100 and 1,200 World War II veterans a day. I was the commander of the United States Air Force Honor Guard in Washington, D.C., and there was absolutely no way that we could have ever met the requirements associated with those type of numbers. And it's these type of men and women that provide the honors and the respect that these individuals deserve as they pass along. But they also do ceremonies like this morning, and I can't thank them enough. The other individual I'd like to thank is Dan Stonerup. He's going to be singing the national anthem, and we're going to sing the national anthem and then God Bless America. Without further ado, I'd like to have the 287th Marine Corps League here in Cambria County present our colors. Please stand.
Order, arms. present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the landing of the free and the home of the brave?
Order arms.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Dismissed.
Port arms. Right face. Forward hook.
If you could please remain standing for 2 more minutes. We have Pastor Rick Conrad.
Father God, we are so grateful to you for certainly ceremony, but all the more because of what ceremony means. We don't do this because we don't have anything better to do. We do this because it's real. We do this because it matters. We do this because we're a great nation, because we know you're a great God. And we invite you by your Spirit to be in this place as we enjoy the rest of our morning together. Thanking you and praising you for your many abundant blessings. And all of God's people said, Amen.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Unless you'd like to stand. If you're looking at the schedule, you'll notice we have a ton of speakers. And so each of our politicians have done the impossible and promised me that they were going to only speak 2 minutes. It's a joke, folks. Come on now. Give me a break. Oh. No, it's all good. We can't thank our politicians enough for showing up today. Again, I always like to put it this way. You know, the people that give politicians grief and stuff like that, I like to remind people that the benefits that veterans receive, every benefit that a veteran has ever received, has always been voted on by a politician. We ought not forget who's making those sort of things happen for our veterans. We're going to start out with Senator Langerholtz, District 35. My bad. We have a sing-along, and
If you're part of the military, guys, stand up, yell, scream, do your part, all right? Thank you.
so we want to see what service you're in. into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, soon to meet our thunder. Adam boys, give her the gun. Give her the gun! Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flame. Hey, nothing to stop the U.S. Air Force. I know we've got some Marines around here.
From the halls of mountains to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor free. We are proud to claim the title of United States
That was actually my subconscious trying to avoid that whole thing because we all know what we sing like. Oh, well, Senator, beat that. Senator Langerholz, ladies and gentlemen, the 35th.
Thank you, good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with you, and I will honor and I will keep it short because there's nothing that I could say to convey the gratitude that I have and we have as a nation for you to serve and don the uniform for our country. So thank you for your service. We know that the price for freedom has always been high, but it's always been one that we've been willing to pay, and we have. And we honor you, and I thank you, and our nation thanks you for keeping us free. I think a lot of people in this day and age don't realize really what it takes to keep our nation free. They take it for granted. And I'll echo the comments of hero. I think we throw around that word way too often, that moniker. Oh, they're a hero, they're a hero. No, the heroes are the men and women who don the uniform, who sacrifice, who leave their families, who go or pay the ultimate price so that we can be free. I had the privilege to speak at Sandyville Cemetery on Memorial Day, and in researching what I was going to say on behalf of Memorial Day, I came across a story, many of you may know it, in World War I, and we commemorate the 100th year anniversary of the United States entering World War I, and oftentimes I think it's named the Forgotten War, and we don't, we sometimes forget the sacrifice that those men and women made. But I came across a story, and kind of popularized also by President Reagan, of Private Martin Treptow, who left his small town to fight in World War I, gave his life on the battlefield in France, and on his person, when they found his body, they found a diary. And he conveyed something that I think really is, he was doing something for the greater good. And I'd like to read that for you, what they found on his person in his diary. He wrote that America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. Private Treptow did something for the greater good, something so many of you in this room did. I thank you for your service, and I'm reminded of the saying, if you can read this program, thank a teacher. If you can read it in English, thank a veteran. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
What the senator didn't mention, though, is that he's currently working to join the armed services in our reserves. So how about a round of applause? Future veteran. Okay, regrettably, Representative Brian Barbin from the 71st was not able to make it. but I guess we have a suitable substitute. You may not know Ed Parada, but my wife does because she used to babysit his children. Not to mention ages or how that sort of works out. I'll let you do the math. Ed, come on up.
I'm going to stay right here. It's really short. I just wanted to say on behalf of he expresses his feelings of not being able to be here, but he did want to say that he was very, very honored to be able to present all the names that you see on the back of the program today before the State House of Representatives, where he proposed a amendment that these veterans be recognized, and they were recognized in the State House of Representatives. And I brought certificates from the State House of Representatives to be presented to these veterans. So the Representative Board just wants to say thank you, and most sincerely thank you for everything that you've done for our country.
Thank you. If you noticed, there might have been a little protocol faux pas because you always mention the elected officials who are here before representatives of officials. But what I was doing was going with the 71st, and we now come to the 72nd. Frank Burns. Frank, thanks so much.
Well, I'm going to keep this short, but I also wanted to thank you for coming, and thank you for everything you've done for this country. And I'll tell you a little story of what happened to me this morning. So I put my suit on, and my nephew, he calls it my uniform. So as I'm walking out of the house, my brother and his son come to the house, and he has his uniform on because he has a baseball game today, and they wanted me to go to the baseball game with him. So he said, where are you going? As soon as he saw me, he saw the uniform, he's like, where are you going? Why do you have your uniform on? And I said to him, I have an important meeting I have to go to. And he's like, no you don't, it's Saturday. And I said, I do. I've got to go talk to some veterans today. And he looked at me like he didn't believe what I was saying. And I said, do you know what a veteran is? And his reply was no. Now I know when I was a kid, my grandfather drugged me. He was a veteran, and he drugged me to every event possible. I've attended more funerals of veterans than I care to admit. And I was just a kid. But I naturally grew up learning about it from my grandfather. So I'm partly to blame because I've never had this talk with my nephew, and neither has my brother. But the minute he said he didn't know what a veteran was, he had a 20-minute sermon from both of my brother. So it opened my eyes to what we're missing in this country and what's happening. So everyone in this room understands what that flag means. They understand what protecting freedom means. But the next generation is not really learning it the way that I did. And we have to do more. We have to do more to educate them. We have to bring them to events like this so they can see how much pride people have. And after I was done explaining it to my nephew, of course, he's a kid, but he's like, Dad, I think I want to be a soldier. And I learned a lot. It made me feel like I did my part for society today on some random Saturday in June. But it really warmed my heart to be able to instill that into him, what it actually means to be a veteran. So thank you for everything you do, and I got my uniform on and I'm headed to a Little League game today, so thank you.
Okay, we have an unannounced politician that showed up, and it sort of scares me because I know this individual, and although he is normally very short in words, once he gets going, look out. So Mark, what are you going to surprise us with today? Mark Wissinger is a county commissioner. Come on up here.
Yeah,
Good to see you, my friend.
Good morning, everybody. want to thank you for the invite. Is Josh Hauser here?
No, Josh had to go to the
he had a
hospital.
family emergency.
I just wanted to mention Josh Hauser because he is the head of the Veterans Office here in Cambria County. It's located right in the courthouse. So, and we think very, very highly of him. Does a super job. And if you ever need a hand, that's the gentleman to call. There's a lady that works with him by the name of Denise, and they'll do anything they can to help get you answers, to help get you help, information, whether it be directly as a veteran or the family. So the county is very proud to have a veterans office located, again, right in Evansburg. So, we'd be more than happy to ever help you at any single point in time. Probably many of you have already dealt with him already. But the other thing I wanted to mention was Doonan Park, and Doug alluded to it earlier. I don't know, is there anybody here that's